Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. We are a minute away from the market bell. But today, of course, I got to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin and this bullish Bitcoin cross that's about to come. So let's talk about that, and let's talk about everything else going on in the world today. Welcome, guys. You know, the stock market is going to, or U.S. market is going to open again in the red. You know, U.S. is kind of like not knowing what to do. Investors, Wall Street, you know, people are just kind of like, what should we do? Like kind of in limbo right now. Look at this. GM is going to end production of its Chevy Bolt because it's just garbage. That's why. But you have a lot of earnings this week. I mean, mixed results. You have McDonald's now saying, hey, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Traffic is growing. And then you also have Pepsi that's doing pretty good. This is no surprise because Coca-Cola already reported yesterday and their revenue came up. So it seems like the food industry is doing okay, right? But of course, you have some industries like maybe the EV industry, not looking so good. Tesla's not good. Now GM is saying they're going to end Bolt, right? And then you also have the banking industry still not doing so good. The bigger banks reported great earnings, but the smaller banks are still kind of in limbo, like the market. And you have Standard Chartered CEO warning that the banking sector risks have not come home to roost, meaning he's thinking there will be more problems, more collapses, more everything that's going to happen. And it's funny that the CEO said this because just days ago, his bank said that Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by 2024. So it sounds like someone is bullish on Bitcoin, okay? Right after this, days after this came out, actually not days, just a day that this came out, you have the CEO also coming out warning about the banking sector. I would say that's a pretty big endorsement for Bitcoin, right? So U.S. market right now is still kind of iffy, and then people are still clinging on like sell in May, go away, you know. So we don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that come May, we're going to have more volatility for sure because we're going to have another FOMC meeting. And we will maybe possibly have another rate hike. I'm still clinging on hope that it's going to be zero, that Powell just shuts it down. But many feel like he's not going to shut it down. He's going to keep pushing us forward in a bad way, and will drive more businesses and more people to become poor, basically. So that's what's happening. But you know who's not endorsing Bitcoin? The IMF. IMF is about to send Argentina a $45 billion bailout. We know Argentina's their currency has absolutely collapsed. They just raised their interest rate by 300 basis points. It is up to like 81% because they are suffering from hyperinflation. They don't know what to do about their inflation, honestly, okay? They don't know what to do with their currency. They tried to come out with their own petro crypto too, totally failed. It's a clear example of a country that needs help, and getting a $45 billion bailout from IMF is really just a small, lifeline, so to speak, right? It's a very small, it's like being handed a credit card, basically, when you have billions of dollars of debt. So, I mean, that's what's happening. But you know what the IMF said? We're not going to give this to you unless you take an anti-crypto stance, meaning you will not be turning to Bitcoin. The IMF pulled the same stunt with El Salvador. El Salvador said, we need help, right? And IMF's like, you need to get Bitcoin off your balance sheet and off being a legal tender. And I'm glad President Bukele just told them, go F yourself, okay? That's what Argentina needs to do. Because what the IMF is doing, the IMF, if you think about it, is just a giant bank. As much as we hate central banks around the world from different countries, the IMF is even worse. IMF is the bank that bails out countries, okay? So when you have a country that's failed and they need a bailout, they go to the World Bank or the IMF. The IMF is comprised of like several countries together. They form the IMF and then they loan out. But basically they're their own entity. But it's like the biggest bank on earth. So it's the same premise. The IMF gets people hooked. In this case, countries, I should say. Gets countries hooked. They give them a lifeline, but of course, they get them hooked, right? And that's why countries like El Salvador wanted to get out. Like, I don't want to be, chained up. I want to be and operate like my own country, right? And not have to listen to the IMF. But this is the IMF clearly throwing their weight around and telling everyone, hey, get off the Bitcoin standard because obviously they're threatened by it. Okay, I mean, it's very clear. Why do you need to tell countries to get off Bitcoin? There's absolutely zero reason for that. Besides the fact they are threatened by it because one day Bitcoin can be the world's reserve currency. And with it, you don't need banks like the IMF to bail anyone out anymore. Okay, so that's exactly what's happening right now. Again, Argentina's probably going to take it because they need that lifeline, right? But Michael Saylor's like, why don't you just adopt Bitcoin? It just makes a whole lot of sense. I know there's still a lot that you have to work out. Maybe they have to redo their currency and make their currency backed by Bitcoin. But where do they go get the money to buy the Bitcoin in the first place, right? Maybe Argentina takes that $45 billion and throws it in Bitcoin and then make their currency backed by Bitcoin. That would be outstanding. But, IMF would probably not allow that. Okay? But, I mean, honestly, all these countries that are suffering from hyperinflation, why not? Why not? Embrace Bitcoin. Bitcoin will not inflate or hyperinflate like what's going on in some of these countries. You can't apply monetary policy to it. It is set in code, okay? And no one could change that. There's no individual, no entity, no country that can change the monetary policy of Bitcoin or the inflation rate or the set supply. There's just zero chance any of these guys could do it. And that's what you need exactly. You need to take the human element out of it. You need to take the greed out of it. And that's why all fiat currencies fail, because of greed. That's what it comes down to. Human greed eventually causes everything to fail. Hopefully not humanity itself, but it probably will eventually. But every fiat currency ever created has failed due to greed, and because of greed, overprinting happened, and then eventually it died off, right? But not Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin, because you can't. Even if you wanted to. Even if Satoshi came back and he could identify himself as Satoshi and said, you know what? I think the 21 million limit is not enough. I'm going to raise it to 40 million. Even if he came back and we knew 100% that was Satoshi, he would not have the power to do so. Just think about that. He wouldn't. So that's how strong the network is. So we have that. The greatest network on earth, the greatest store of value on earth, and countries like Argentina should really think about adopting Bitcoin in some capacity, like El Salvador. All right, now, as for Bitcoin right now, it's around, 27, 28-ish, right? What's going on? Well, this is going on. We're getting closer and closer to the halving event, and look at the previous cycles going up to the halving event. And it's sometimes it's hard. You can't even see it because in 2012 it went up so much, right? But if we zoomed in a little bit, you would see that leading up to the halving event, Bitcoin was recovering from bottom. It happened in 2016 too. It happened in 2019 too. And it's happening right now. As we're getting closer, we're less than a year now to the halving event, right? But if we're following the previous pattern, Bitcoin will start rising up. That's a certainty. it's a certainty. I mean, based on history, it has always happened, and why it's happening, there's many reasons for it, because people are anticipating great things will happen after the halving event, right? But maybe it's also due to the growing fundamentals. Right now, due to distrust in banks, there's a lot of factors at play, okay? But that's exactly what's happening right now. But take a look at this. This is that bullish cross that I was hinting at earlier. I mean, every time, again, it's hard to see like the MACD crossover because now the numbers are much bigger than before. But every time we come out of that bottom, we form a MACD crossover, right? Bitcoin starts skyrocketing as it approaches the halving event, and after the halving event, right? You're talking about tens of thousands of percentage gains. Okay, 18,000% in 2012. You have 8,500% since 2015, and then you have 1,200% from 2019. Okay, maybe we get 1,000 this time. Maybe we just get like 800 or 500, whatever it may be. But it's going to be a lot. And that bullish crossover is about to begin shortly. We're about to cross. And if history is indication, then yes. Yes. That means we're about to enter the most bullish part soon of this next cycle, right? And it's not just Bitcoin. You still have a lot of other coins, a lot of altcoins that's showing a lot of strength right now, especially Ethereum. Even though Ethereum withdrawals, there are a lot, but there's also a lot of deposits. So basically, it's even right now. So again, this fear about like massive people dumping Ethereum after being able to unstake, that's just not true. It's evening out, so there's nothing. And it's still very deflationary because there's more burning than minting right now. Okay, so it's looking good. And even Binance joins in the ETH liquid staking hype because why not? Lido is doing so well. Others are offering liquid staking as well. So Binance is joining in. So you get a little bit more flexibility. This also helps people stake their ETH. So you stake your ETH, you get a synthetic version. Even Coinbase offers this. You get a synthetic version of Ethereum, and then you could go play with it in DeFi land if you wanted to, right? So Binance is joining in on the fun, but it's not just about staking. Visa is tapping Ethereum network because they want to conduct their transactions or settlements on top of Ethereum. That's pretty wild if you think about it, right? And then you still have a ton of VCs and funds that are throwing in Looney Tune money into crypto. $1 billion by Andreessen Horowitz, and they're not alone. There's so much money coming in from the Middle East now too. I'm starting to see a lot of these projects funded by like billion-dollar companies out of the Middle East. There's just so much money swirling around right now. And the funny thing is, this $1 billion here or there means absolutely nothing, because I argue there's trillions on the sideline waiting to enter the crypto market. Wait until the trillions come in, not the billions, the trillions, and that's when everything will be tenfold, 20-fold higher than it is now. It's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. All right, let's do some Q&A. Dabatola, you can't submit on behalf of another project. That defeats the purpose. They should be sending it in, not you. And if you send it in, then it's invalid. Because that's one of the one things that for FOMO and Pass that I hated in the first week. Everyone submit for everyone else, but the teams weren't even aware that they were being submitted, and a lot of teams didn't answer. So if you want that team to have a chance to go on the show, you better tell them to submit themselves, and don't tell me that they don't have an email address or a Telegram handle, because they should. All right, let me scroll down here. Let's see what else I missed. McDonald's is up because everyone's got 2 jobs now. That you know, that kind of makes sense. Let's see. Realistically, how many ETH to be a millionaire? I don't know. You do some math. Do some math. Ethereum was at like it topped out close to 5,000. So that's at least like a 2 to 3x. So if you have 200, 300,000 in Ethereum, you know, then you have a really good shot of becoming a millionaire. Now, how high can Ethereum go realistically? I think in this next bull run, maybe do a less than a 10x from here, but maybe it could hit somewhere between 10 to 15,000. So then you do a million divided by 15,000. How many do you need, right? I think Ethereum could hit like 15,000 in the next cycle top. If quantum computing is easy to obtain and an issue, it will attack the stock market banking industry before small crypto market. Yes, that's what I argue, Robert. A lot of people are fearful like quantum computing will somehow be able to crack private keys. Sure, it could be used for that, but if you have quantum computers at your disposal and it's really that good at cracking keys, I mean, you could crack anything. You could crack the bank accounts of the largest companies on earth. You could crack the Federal Reserve. You could crack nuclear codes if you wanted to, right? There's a lot more dangerous things that you could crack besides trying to find out everyone's private keys. Yeah, I mean, that's how I would look at it. Ellen, thank you. XRP winning the lawsuit will easily start a massive rally. Well, that I don't agree with. I do think that Ripple will win the lawsuit. XRP will pump, but also cause a massive pump because we need to see Gary Gensler humbled. Okay, even though he was humbled a little bit by the House committee, but he needs to be humbled more by losing a major lawsuit so that he. And then plus, this Coinbase just sued him. So, you know, he needs to recognize that his word or his opinion is not law. He may think so because he's in that position, but it's not. More education on crypto is needed worldwide, so these lettuce hands stop panicking. I mean, that's what I try to do. I try to make people see the bigger picture, and at times people don't want to hear it, especially when times are fearful, right? But this is the way. Market for crypto security projects in Web3 and DeFi. Are you asking what's in security, or can security projects survive in Web3 and DeFi? I don't know what your question is. Jack Daniels is asking, is it possible that BTC dominance increased during the bull run and alts won't pump? For a time period, yes. And then it will flip. Alts have held on most of their dominance, I guess, as a sector, way better this time around than before. And I don't expect it to be any different. I don't believe the BTC dominance will climb up to 70% like before. It may go up to the 50s, but I don't see it going to the 70s. The alts are just too big now, and there's too much utility to ignore. Nick Gordon says, I introduced a friend to MEXC and Trust Wallet last weekend. They bought their very first BTC and transferred their wallet. Not very intuitive. Need a lot of hand holding. Are you saying that in general or your friend? I mean, yes, but it's not intuitive because it's not something that people are accustomed to, right? Like for example, if you have your money in your bank account, no one has the ability right now to digitally transfer their money from their bank account to a wallet that's in your phone. It doesn't exist. You can make transfers between different banks. You could use Zelle and send people money from your bank, but you don't have the ability to transfer money from your bank into a wallet on your app, on your mobile device, right? You do so with crypto. So it's a very different concept. People don't quite get that. But if you had the ability to transfer your own cash from your bank account into a digital wallet, it would work the same way. You need to have a wallet address, and then you send it to that wallet address. I mean, that's really it. Exchanges make it easier because you don't have to worry about gas fees. But with wallet to wallet transfers, you have to worry about gas fees, which is, again, a different concept, but one that wallet makers should really remove. For example, RX Wallet, they are actually implementing a gasless feature so that if you are making a swap, for example, then it will automatically sell a little bit off and generate, let's say, ETH for you so that you don't have to worry about running out of ETH in your wallet, right? So they're calling this new swap feature gasless feature. But all wallets should have that because that's like a major nuisance. And people always get freaked out because their wallet errors out and they don't know what's happening when they try to send. It's just because they don't have enough gas fees, right? So I mean, yeah. So, there's a learning curve to everything because it's so new. But once you know, then you know. And all transfers become pretty much the same. What's the difference between commodity and security? The biggest difference is there's expectation of gains with securities, and commodity, there's no expectation of gains. It's just used for utility. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. I mean, there's other little definitions here or there, but really it comes down to expectation of gains. Are you holding it because you feel like you're going to make money from it, or are you holding it because you actually plan on using it? It's like riding a bike. Once you know, then you know. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. Once you know how to send and receive crypto on a wallet, you pretty much know how to use it for, you could do so for any wallet and any exchange transfers. What are your thoughts on Flare Network and Flare Token? I don't have much thoughts. A lot of XRP guys, I think, are disappointed that Flare is not like exclusive to XRP Ledger. They're kind of like doing their own thing and supporting multiple chains. But outside of that, in terms of their mission, I don't know what they're trying to do. I mean, I know they're like a L1, but I don't know how they're really different from everyone else. When President Bukele finishes BTC City, would he move there? No. I like the U.S. still. Maybe that opinion changes in the future, but I still like the U.S. and I like where I live. So no, I'm not gonna be moving anytime soon. Am I personally using ITrustCapital? No, and here's why. Because I don't have a 401k. I don't have a retirement fund. I don't know. I have this opinion that, it's better to invest and make your money rather than have it parked there, right? But I get it. Especially with ITrustCapital, what you could do is you could park it there and still buy crypto, which is kind of like the best thing you could do. So I get it. But me personally, I've just never been a big 401k retirement fund guy. Do I get bored in consolidation phase too? Of course. But I put things into perspective because even though it's boring right now, it's way better than when we were lower, right? Boring at 27,000 is better than boring at 14,000 or 15,000, right? So put that into perspective. And even boring at 15,000 is better than boring at 3,000. So just put that into account, I guess. What is the market at? Still kind of red today. Tesla down to 160. Coinbase down to 54. That's ouch. It was just in the 70s. My Coinbase options are getting hammered. I'm so afraid to even check it. Mara also down quite a lot from the 12s down to 8. Oof. Not good. Still a lot of volatility with stocks right now. That's for sure. Why do people not like KYC? I mean, why do you like KYC? Jay, thank you for that super chat. These people don't want to be identified. It's just like when you go to a bank and you withdraw $10,000 or you deposit $10,000 and they ask you for your ID. Do you like that? I don't. I think it's a nuisance. If I want to deposit money, I want to deposit money. And if I want to withdraw money, I want to withdraw money. What business of it is yours, but I get it. The banks are forced to do so from, I don't know, from the Fed or FDIC, whoever's in charge of that. But that's why. Overall, have you made money from stocks? Yes, I have. But again, just like in crypto, had I not tried to outsmart the market and not tried to swing trade or day trade, had I just bought and held, I would have made 1,000 times more. And that's because I got in when I was younger, before the dot-com bubble, right? I got into the likes of Apple and Microsoft when they were much smaller companies. And even after the dot-com bubble, I still had opportunity to buy in. But, rather than doing that, I panic sold like everyone else. And then fast forward to 2008, same thing. Same thing. You could have bought, I remember, when in 2008 the stock market was crashing, it was brutal. Every single day, the Dow will be down 500 points. Minus 500, minus 500, minus 600, minus 1,000. Like, literally for months. And some of the biggest stocks were hammered to the point where they were laughably cheap. And again, rather than buy and hold, I tried to day trade. I tried to swing trade. Try to play with leverage. It cost me way more than I made in 2008 and 2009. So again, had I bought and held, I would be like 1,000 times higher. Probably even more than that if you consider like going all the way back to 2000. That's why. And the richest people from Wall Street also the same thing. None of these Peter Thiel or Peter Lynch, I mean, all these guys, Mike Novogratz, you know, all these billionaire investors, they don't tell you, oh, I made my billions from day trading. They tell you, I made my billions by buying low when other people are panicking, and then that's it, and I held. That's how they made their billions, right? And that's truly how you make the most money when it comes to investing. You choose the right projects to invest in. You do it when it's low, when everyone else is panicking, and you get in at those times. It's that simple. SEC being a majority holder of Dogecoin effective price? No, that's just a silly question. Davitola, you don't have to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? I saw your message like 30 minutes ago, man. Okay, I got it. I got it. Just chill. All right, guys. Let's conclude. Overall, bullish cross is about to happen. Very bullish cross. One that you don't want to miss. But just know this. You still have that powers that be that do not like Bitcoin. Still trying to force countries to not adopt Bitcoin. But they will fail. It's just a matter of time before everyone gets in and understands what Bitcoin is all about. So, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care.